This week we celebrate the feast of the Ascension, when Jesus returned to his Father in heaven in order to prepare the way for God's Holy Spirit to come among us as an advocate and guide. I don't want to dwell today on the mechanics of the Ascension, of Jesus' retreat from earth, and why that was necessary for the Holy Spirit to be among us. Instead, I want us to think about some of the things that both Jesus and St. Paul say about what the Spirit will do for us. In John chapter 16, verses 12 and 13, Jesus says, "I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. When the Spirit of truth comes, it will guide you into all the truth. The Spirit will not speak on its own, but will speak whatever it hears, and it will declare to you the things that are to come." The Holy Spirit, which comes to us and dwells in us, is the Spirit of truth. When we spend time in prayer, trying to listen for the Spirit, it gently guides us to the truth revealed in Jesus. Truths that take time for us to realise. Time trying to live with Jesus in our lives until it gradually dawns upon us all that this means. Not truth that we can know instantly, but truth born through experience and relationship with God through Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Jesus also says in John chapter 14, verse 16, "I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to be with you forever." Sometimes called advocate, comforter, helper, paraclete, the Holy Spirit is one called to our side to offer aid. That's what it means for the Holy Spirit to be all those things. And earlier in John chapter 6 verse 63, Jesus says, "It is the Spirit that gives life. The flesh is useless. The words that I have spoken to you are spirit and life." The Spirit is the one who is the breath of life. Every time we breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly, we can think about the life-giving Spirit of God entering our lives and filling us, renewing us. And when we don't feel like we have much connection to God's Spirit at work in our lives, when we don't seem to feel that breath of life, it isn't time to despair. In Romans chapter 8, verses 26 and 27, Paul tells us, "The Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know how to pray as we ought, but that very Spirit intercedes with sighs too deep for words. And God, who searches the heart, knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints according to the will of God." When we haven't got any more to offer, nonetheless, the Spirit is there for us, interceding for us with God, drawing us closer to the source of all life and love. This time, between Ascension and Pentecost, is about waiting for the Spirit. In Luke chapter 24, verse 49, Jesus says to his disciples, "See, I am sending upon you what my Father promised. So stay here in the city until you have been clothed with power from on high." And so too we join in that sense of waiting between the 10 days from the Feast of the Ascension until Pentecost each year. Waiting often isn't easy. And don't we know that well, as we wait for lockdown in this country to lessen more so we can see family and friends again. Waiting can also be active and not idle. Just as our waiting for lockdown to end is something we can actively participate in by doing the right things together to hasten the country's progress out of this lockdown situation. So too, we wait and pray for the gifts of the Spirit in these days in an active way. As Psalm 37 verse 7 reminds us, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him, and the gifts and fruits of the Spirit will come to you."